I definitely do care about Taylor. At the end of the day, I didn't leave that yard for Kyle. But what I don't respect is it was the easier and short-term correct answer. But I wanted to do loyalty to a fault. Michael is arguably playing one of the best games.
What's up, everybody? It's Brian Keith, and I'm back with another video. And today we'll be looking at Joseph Abdin's exit interviews from Big Brother.
And I would love to give a shout out to Us Weekly, Showbiz Cheat Sheet, The Winner's Circle, and Catherine Dunn's YouTube.
Like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
Let me check my shit real quick. Hotter than the fire coming out my flaming lips. You wanna play with me? You can't play in me. On the playground, bitch, you can't play with me. Got it, want it, securing the bag.
So my format is simple. If you watch one of my videos before, you know that we will look at the interview and listen to the responses. I will jump in periodically to just interject my thoughts on what we're hearing. And if you would like to watch the full videos, drop down to the description box for the link to the full videos in its entirety.
I definitely do care about Taylor. I think she's so amazing, and the more I get to know her and the more time I spend with her, you know, it's hard not to with that girl, but, you know, in due time.
So we're starting with the easier questions. I think we all would love to see Joseph and Taylor get together and have some sort of relationship come out of the Big Brother house. But I feel like relationships in the Big Brother house are so frequent and occur very much strategic and non-strategic. And the ones that really last, I think I can count on my hand, one hand of how many actually lasted from the Big Brother house.
I think Michael is arguably playing one of the best games and Jasmine playing one of the worst. I only say this because Michael has been winning competition after competition and Jasmine has been tanking her social game. So for those two reasons, I'd say these two are arguably playing the best and worst game.
So I basically said this while I was doing Jasmine's exit interview, that I feel like the reason why she left is because her social game was declining ever since she won HOH. From there, her social game just kept going down because people were annoyed by her antics and just her being in the house. And I felt that has a lot of influence because of the leftovers were in power, and Turner did not like Jasmine, damn near despised Jasmine. And with Michael is the dominating force in the house. He's winning everything, and even if you put him on the block, he's still going to win. I.e., this week he won POV to take one of his girls off the block. Like, he is literally top player that I've seen in a long time. Crazy. And it's like, I don't know if people are scared to take a shot at Michael, but they're gonna have to do something because he's gonna sweep this whole game.
Question. If you had reached to the 7 with the leftovers, would you have stayed true to the pound, or would you have cut someone loose for another ally?
Probably would have stayed true to the pound based on people's trustworthiness. Obviously, that clearly changes throughout the game. And I think I would have, because those 4 seemed initially to not be grouping in together, and that I was there for that initial, construction. So probably would have stayed true to them all the way through.
I feel playing a loyal game can only get you so far. Yes, I feel like alliances, you have to make alliances. You have to really build connections and be a social player and just try to get people on your side and get the numbers. But there comes to a point, especially in the halfway mark that we are right now, you can't be loyal, because let's say I was in the house and Michael was there and I was loyal to Michael. Yes, there comes a point in time where it's like, yes, I have to be loyal to Michael because I know he'll get himself off the block. But if I see a chance to take a shot, I have to take the shot because I'm here to win this money for myself. I'm not here to sign a check for somebody else. So I feel like a lot of people have to, like, I get it, be strategic and take a shot when you can take it, but you can't just be scared. Like, I feel like a lot of people in this house are scared of taking a shot at Michael because he's running away with this money to the bank.
Next question. You told Terrence and Kyle all of the information you collected on Taylor and her allies before the eviction to save yourself. Did you consider if this might help or hurt the ones who were loyal to you?
I absolutely considered it, and there's nothing that I said that Kyle or Turner didn't already know. And since Kyle was already on a betraying spree, I tried to get ahead of it, but I actually knew a lot more that I did not disclose on the off chance that this did happen. I was evicted and Kyle didn't go in the house. Anything I disclosed about Monty or any of the other remaining leftovers was information that Kyle already had and was bound to release if he already didn't.
So I don't mind Joseph telling Terrence about the leftovers and basically information about Monty and Taylor. I think it was kind of unnecessary because I feel like Kyle already beat him to the punch. I don't know if Joseph all the way privy of that information where Kyle spilled the beans. I know that Joseph know that Kyle betrayed him, but I don't know if he knew all of that. So Joseph was basically reiterating stuff that Kyle already said, and I feel like he was trying to make a last stitch effort to keep himself in the house, and I don't mind that at all because it's like I'd rather someone fight to stay in the house than just roll over and lay dead, like I feel like Jasmine kind of did. So I mean, it's a double-edged sword.
Next question. Taylor wanted to go after Terrence during her HOH. Many people got into her ear, including you, to change that plan. You even pitched yourself to go on the block next to Indy. If you could go back to last week, would you have done anything differently?
I would have probably reconsidered Terrence versus Indy in threats. I would have not underestimated Terrence so much, and I wish I did think that decision thoroughly, but I know my relationship with Indy was a heavy concern. And at some point in the game, I was going to have to vote against her since she wasn't a part of my alliance. So wouldn't say I necessarily regret it from that aspect. I just wish I reanalyzed them as players better. But I had to send Indy home at some point. If that's what the majority wanted to go with, it wouldn't have been a good decision for me to push back knowing how close I am with her.
So I said this last week that I felt like Indy going home was the absolute wrong person. I knew that out of Indy and Terrence, Terrence was a bigger threat than Indy. Indy, I feel like if Indy would have got the HOH, she would have put up people, but I feel like she wouldn't have known. It would have been a little bit more sporadic, like how Taylor's HOH was. Probably less entertaining, but yeah. But with Terrence really threw a curveball, and I'm not mad at this gameplay at all. I actually commend Terrence for taking the shot, sticking to his guns, and going after a big target like Joseph. It was a big blindside. I feel like if this twist didn't happen, Joseph wouldn't have went home, but it would definitely be Jasmine.
Next question. You mentioned that you watched last season, which showed an alliance making it to the end together, which is a rarity in Big Brother. Do you think if you watched more seasons, you would have a less loyal perspective on playing Big Brother?
No, because regardless of what happened in other seasons, including last season's, I was here now and I had a goal. I had an initiative that I wanted to make work, that I was motivated by from last season's, regardless of what was going on in other seasons. I wanted to accomplish this goal and I really worked hard in trying to do it, but I was unable to do, and it was unfortunate that I couldn't, but I think even with more Big Brother under my belt, I maybe would have still just worked a little smarter in trying to achieve the goal, not necessarily abandon it.
I feel like the Cookout Alliance was a once in a lifetime alliance that happened, and I don't feel like it can be recreated because players are privy of these different scenarios now. And I feel like, yes, where being loyal can help you. And there's people that actually played a loyal game and kind of made it pretty decently far. I wouldn't say it was bad, but I don't see that many people winning the show playing a loyal game. Like Derek and Cody. Cody was loyal to a fault to Derek, but that was to Cody's detriment. Derek was the absolute winner of that season, and Cody had many times to put Derek on the block, tried to do something, but he was loyal and he came second. I mean, ultimately he won Big Brother 22. Yeah. So I'm just like, it is what it is, but still. Let me know down in the comments, do you guys agree with Joseph's stance on playing a loyal game? I already know that I don't agree with it. I would play a semi-loyal where it's just like, I mean, if I have alliance, I'll stick to my alliance. But if I see opportunity to take a shot, then I'm gonna take a shot. And if I know that people are coming at my neck and I win HOH, then I'm definitely taking a shot, because it's like, okay, if I feel like I'm not gonna win the show, then I'm bringing everybody else down with me. If I'm not gonna win, then we all gonna be over here struggling. Okay.
Exactly. It worked
Yeah.
out.
So next question we asked Joseph, we said, you're an extremely intelligent guy with an athletic build, but we didn't see you win any competitions. Was this strategic, a stroke of bad luck, or are these competitions really difficult under pressure? And this is what he had to say.
I think it's a little bit of all. I always wanted to downplay the physical threat. I didn't want to emphasize it after, seeing Monty win a competition. He became the physical threat. Monty and I were in a very similar position, and only after his HOH did his name keep getting mentioned. So, time and time again, I definitely was like, winning an HOH just puts an extreme target on someone who's already looked at it as the physical threat. And I had no choice but to start to, show my strategic side. And I already had a good social game. So I was like, at this point, I'm just not going to make it very far if people see me as a very, very huge threat. And although I could possibly win some competitions, like the wall, I definitely felt like I could have held out a little bit longer. I am no Michael. I don't think I can just win a competition when I feel like it. But at the same time, I was a little comfortable in the house. And when we were going for HOHs or vetoes, if I didn't necessarily have to go all out, I would try to refrain from doing so.
I feel like in Big Brother, there's a huge stigma with people that are athletic. I'll use myself as an example. I work out 7 days a week. I run about 2 to 3 miles a day. I lift weights. I feel like I'm in really, really good shape, but it's like one of those things where I would go into the house trying to dumb myself down, not telling people that I have 2 degrees, working on my 3rd degree. I would not give that information out just because I don't want to make myself a target earlier on. But I do feel like at some point you have to start winning. You can't just be like, well, I'm just going to lay back, because then how are you going to put anything on your scorecard? Like, I use scorecard reference as like when you get to the end of the show, how can you say I'm better than the person that's sitting next to me? So it's just like, if you haven't won HOH, or you haven't won power veto, and you haven't had to make these decisions, then how can you sit up here and say that you beat everybody else out? Yes, you might have outsmarted, you might have outwit, but you weren't even a threat at that point. So I feel like it comes a point where you have to start winning. And me, I definitely feel like I wouldn't want to win the first HOH. I would probably want to win the second or third, just so I can get a little bit of blood on my hands and really set myself as a, presence in the house. Winning HOH in the house not only grants you power, but it also gives people opportunities to actually talk game with you. You gain information, and you're able to really go after people that you specifically want to target.
Final question for Joseph. We said to him, you mentioned last night that Kyle did some things this week you didn't respect. Where would you rank him in the hierarchy of the leftovers? And from a game perspective, is it fair to say Kyle made the moves he needed to in order to further his game? This answer for Joseph I thought was a pretty interesting one. So this could tell us like a little bit about maybe what he would do at the end of the game if someone like Kyle is sitting there for a vote.
Yes. So at the end of the day, I didn't leave that yard and Kyle did. So I have to respect that from a game standpoint. Now, from how I could overall respect it in a long-term standpoint, I think him sending Alyssa home would have benefited his game long-term. I think he made a decision that was right because he left the yard at the end of the day, and I need to understand and respect that aspect. But what I don't respect is it was the easier and short-term correct answer. We're walking back in with Alyssa, will always have a target on his back. I think Terrence and Turner knew that, and we're trying to take advantage of that aspect too. And, him sabotaging and betraying me was always ammunition for Terrence and Turner to go back in there. So he threw a huge target on his back to get out of there. I just think he could have got out of there with not as big as a target.
So the situation with Kyle is, I respect the fact that he took the shot to basically throw the leftovers under the bus before they did him. But I feel like Kyle went about it all wrong. He basically wanted to I have Alyssa, where
in the situation, it's like he's on an uphill battle with Alyssa on his back. Do you see how hard that is? Because yes, Alyssa might win HOH, but Kyle hasn't won HOH either. So it's just like, to be honest, they just sitting around twiddling their thumbs. And when we talk about outside information, like information that we as the viewers know, I do not respect Kyle. I feel like some of the stuff that he's done has been very much inappropriate and disrespectful. But like, just some of the things that he has said about like the whole White Alliance was very weird. And like him speaking, especially when we just saw on the feeds him talking shit about Joseph, calling him a scumbag. Joseph literally was one of the nicest guys in the house. So it's really weird to hear him say this to Alyssa about Joseph. Kyle is just, at this point, a waste of space and not one of my favorite house guests by any means. And I'm just going to leave it like that. Leave it really nice.
While you were in the house, you kept your true occupation a secret. Do you have any conspiracies about who your fellow house guests are outside of the Big Brother house? Or do you think that they really are who they say they are?
No, just like me, everyone was lying. I even felt to some extent that people would make reference too often than not about me or the law. So I might have left some breadcrumbs that people may have started to pick up on. But I think everyone to some extent was lying about their occupation. Monty as well, Michael. I think majority of everyone is lying. Now, where I could pinpoint it, because everyone's so unique, not necessarily, but I think everyone as well as me were lying.
I think that Joseph was one of the first people to pick up on people were lying or downplaying their abilities. When they had the whole chess match that he had against Michael, I feel that Joseph started to put the pieces together. I think this cast, we know that Michael and Joseph both were attorneys. And we all know that Monty was a personal trainer, but before that, he was a mechanical engineer, which is impressive. Brittany was a hypnotherapist. Amira worked for Google. So there were a lot of people that were very accomplished on this season of Big Brother.
We saw you display loyalty towards numerous people in the game. Was your loyalty to Taylor true, or did you need her as a number towards your Pound Alliance? And if it came down to it, who would have had your ultimate loyalty?
So I just want to do a quick shout out to Kat, just because I feel like she has been asking some of the like amazing questions, like some of the questions that I don't think I would have thought of. I feel like her and Hannah, the way that they can articulate themselves and ask these in-depth questions to really get another side. And it's not like the basic generic questions that we hear from other channels. Like I've done this type of video for about a couple weeks now, so I've seen like the generic questions that they ask. So I feel like, especially when she did her questioning of Daniel, like she really didn't hold anything back, and I can do nothing but respect it.
My loyalty to Taylor was most definitely true. I even recall talking to her initially in the game was causing me a lot of difficulties.
So like I said before, in the beginning of the game, Taylor was the #1 target for almost 4 weeks straight, and she was the backdoor plan for almost 2 weeks. So I feel like a lot of people did not like Taylor by any means, and there were a lot of people that kept quiet when they saw the stuff that happened towards Taylor, and that was almost everybody in the house. So I feel like they were trying to be strategic, and they really didn't know the whole severity of the situation. But I do respect the fact that, you know, he's basically shedding light on how he he got a lot of slack for basically talking to Taylor. And he did, because some of the girls looked like they were trying to push up on Joseph. Like Indy and Jasmine, they seemed like they were over here ready to risk it all to try to get some of Joseph.
Even maintaining a relationship with her while she was in the leftovers required that we start a fomance just so I can communicate with her and talk to her. If I wanted, to play a self-preservation game or only stay true to the pound initially, once we had Taylor's vote and what we needed, I could have just disregarded her in that manner, but I wasn't willing to do so. And I was taking it day by day with her and seeing how it goes.
All right. Everybody head to the comments and let me know, what do you guys think about what Joseph is saying thus far?
And lastly, give us your best conspiracy for what you think will happen between now and the end of the game.
My best conspiracy is that hopefully if Monty wasn't the one sent home, that the remaining leftovers unite, and realize me leaving was a huge red flag and a possibility that, Kyle and Turner have betrayed them, and that they, work to keep doing what we were doing, but just add Kyle and Turner to that list of people that go home, and they make it towards the end. And from there, they, have the battle that we all knew was coming one day.
So I definitely feel like for Terrence, Kyle, Turner, Alyssa, it's going to be a hard fight to take Michael out. That's everyone's biggest competition, regardless of the fact. Monty, I think the best thing for Monty and Taylor and Brittany to do is to stick with Michael because of the fact that Michael's going to win something else. It's just a high probability of the fact. And I feel like Monty is a good player where he can win HOH. Taylor could potentially win HOH. But this week it fell on Turner, and Turner's trying to basically dwindle out the leftovers by taking out Taylor as his target. So it's one of those situations where it's like hopefully that they can strategize and really pull together, because yes, being HOH and yes, being a threat is important individually, but you still have to have the numbers in the game. And if you don't have the numbers, there's no possible way that you can be safe. Only if you win like POV or HOH. And even then, if you don't execute your HOH right, it was just a waste of time. So I hope you guys like and enjoy this video. It's sad to see Joseph go. He was a great player. I feel like he was a very smart player. I wish he didn't play such a loyal game, where I feel like he could be a loyal player. But I feel like a lot of people that were loyal and betrayed people in the game, one, we know it's a game, so we get it. And two, like I said before, if you give me a good reason why you stabbed me in the back, I can't be mad at that. Like, Joseph's fatal error was a little bit like Daniel. Like, he was too loyal. Daniel might have been chauvinistic, egotistical, emotional, borderline narcissistic personality. But with Joseph, I feel like he was a very like funny, kind person, and I feel like he's going to be missed on this show. But you all like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.